Hello everyone, welcome back again. Today we are going to see the object-oriented concepts of Python, and agenda for today is we are going to see what a class is, what an object is, and what is an attribute, what is a method, what is public, private, and protected attributes, methods, constructors and destructors. Then the core OOPS concepts like abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, overriding, polymorphism, exception handling, then try catch block, how to write a try catch block, and then we'll see some important libraries. Maybe in this video we'll complete till constructors and destructors, and then we'll proceed with the other topics in the next video. Okay, so let us start with the classes, objects, methods and attributes. So let's understand first, this is the very basic building block for understanding object oriented concepts. So what exactly a class is? So class is a template for an object. It contains code for all object methods, okay, and it describes the abstract characteristic of a real-time thing. Okay, a real-time thing is described using a class. Let's take an example for let me give you an example. Human being, then human is an example, and we people like me, people like you are the objects of that class, maybe, or you can say the instances of that class. So class is nothing but a description of, an abstract description of a real-time thing. Maybe you can say a bike is also a class, and there are so many objects. I mean, different types of bikes, different types of objects are there for that particular type of bike. Maybe a two-wheeler bike, it's an object, and all the two-wheelers that come into that particular bracket will be called as the object of that particular class. Same thing happens here. What happens in object oriented programming? Whatever we try to write, let's say we are trying to write an application for an institute. Let's say the institute takes classes for various courses like big data, Python, data science, informatica, ETL testing, and so many things. And let's say we are trying to develop an application where if a candidate comes and if he asks for how many courses are going on, what is the course content, what is the fee structure of this, what is the batch strength of this. So if you see class and object in this context, so what will happen? That particular, let's say institute name is Lotus, then that particular institute is a class. Then again the list of courses that they have, maybe that will be stored somewhere. Now if the course that the particular candidate is searching for will again go through a process, maybe he'll go and type his course and he'll get an output that okay, this course is available, it's a weekend course, or it's a weekday course, or maybe it's a fast track course, whatever that is. So for that output again we'll create a class, will create a class. So this was one example. Maybe let's take some another example that let's say we have a company, then there is a class called employee. Okay, so there is a class called employee. Now the employee are of different types. Maybe he's an IT guy, maybe he's an admin guy, he's a housekeeping guy. So there are different forms of that particular class. I mean, let's say employee is a class, then a IT guy, that will be an object of that class, maybe, or admin guy, that will be an object of that class, or a housekeeping guy, that will be an object of that class. So that real-time thing, employee is a real-time thing, and using classes, what we do is we describe the real-time thing. That is what is happening here. We are describing a employee as a class, okay, or as a human as a class, or a car as a class, or maybe a coaching institute as a class. So everything is a real-time thing, and to develop a application or to develop a program, what we need is we need to replicate that real-time thing in the form of classes and objects. So that's why we call it a class describes the abstract characteristic of real-time thing. Okay, an instance is an object of class created at runtime. Okay, what is, so we discussed this. So let's say employee is a class, so a IT guy, or maybe a housekeeping guy, or an admin guy, all these are the instances of that particular class. You can also say it's an object of that particular class. Okay, and obviously if there could be multiple instances, there could be multiple objects, maybe an employee list, there could be multiple type of employees, and multiple, I mean the number of employees will be it can be unlimited. So there can be multiple instances of a class. So this was the concept of class and object. We'll see this maybe if you're already from a coding background, then it would have been a very easier thing to understand for you. But if you are not, then we'll do some hands-on, and that will make your concepts very clear. Okay, so just for now what you have to do is you have to just keep in mind that using a class we describe a real-time thing. An object is an instance of that particular class. Let's say an employee is a class, then different types of employee, an IT guy, an admin guy, a housekeeping guys, all these are the objects of that particular class. Okay, so for now you have to keep only these 2-3 things in mind, and then you'll get to know each and everything. I mean, everything will be crystal clear when we see the code. I mean, how to create classes, how to create objects and all. Okay, next is what is a class and instance variable. Okay, so I'll discuss this is a complete, let me do some basics, more basics on it, and then we'll see this example. Now then, in the topic, in the agenda, method and attribute were also there. Okay, so what's a method and what's an attribute? We understood what a class is, what an object is. Okay, now what is method and what a attribute is? Now both the things we have seen earlier. Method is nothing but when a function is used inside a class, we call it method. We have already seen how to create function. We have already seen how to write program and use functions inside that. We have seen built-in functions. So again, methods are nothing but functions, those are used inside a class. Okay, so everything is same. We'll see how to create classes, and then how to create or how to define a method inside that. We'll see that. Then next thing was, what is the attribute? So again, attribute, we have seen variables. So when a variable is used inside a class, then we call it as attribute. Okay, so classes, objects, and methods and attributes are the part of class and object. Okay, so this was class, object, methods, and attributes. Let's say, now let me tell you in form of, let's say, human. Let's say I've created a class called employee. Fine, I've created a class called employee. Now I'll define various functions of the employee. Okay, what are the functions? What does he do? I mean, how many hours does he do he spend in the office? Does he spend in the office, or in what project exactly he is working on? What appraisal did he get? So these are few of the functions. So if we create a function called appraisal, and okay, if we create, I've created a function called appraisal. I have created a function called working hours. Okay, I have created a function called experience and skill sets. So I have created a class. I have defined 3 things inside that. Let's take only 2 for now: working hours and appraisal, let's say. So a class called employee has been created. Okay, and we have defined 2 methods inside that. First method is working hours, and then second method is your appraisal. Okay, now attribute. So what's the age of that particular employee? So we'll create an attribute, not, let's say, experience. What's the experience of that particular, the overall IT experience, the overall experience in that particular company, and the overall experience in that particular project. So we can say that these are the attributes, nothing but a variable, but if we are using that inside a class, then we call it attribute. Now, so we have created a class called employee. We have defined 2 functions, or you can say 2 methods. Actually it's a method. So we define 2 methods. First is appraisal method, the second is appraisal method, and the first one is working hours. Then we have defined few attributes inside that. Those attributes are experience in the current company, experience in the current project, and overall experience. Okay, now if some employee joins that particular company, okay, then the object, let's say I joined that, let's say company name is ABC, and a class already exists there, let's say a class called employee. Now if I join that company, then my object will be created as a part of that employee class. Okay, my object will be created as a part of that employee class, and my details like my appraisal, so that will not be applicable here because I am the new joinee. So my working hours, my experience, my previous experience, and everything, once that object is passed, then that function and that attributes can be accessed for a object that has been created, that is for me, that has been created. In the same way, whatever number of employee joins for every employee will be considered as an object of employee class, and for all the employees, uh, the appraisals, the working hours, the attributes like experiences, total experiences will be returned from that class. So hope it is making little sense to you. So it will be very clear once we see the code. Okay, so let's move ahead. For now we have seen classes, objects, attributes and variables. Okay, let me explain you a class here. Before that, let's go to the code and let me show you the first basic class. How do we create a class that does nothing? Just for sake, just for namesake we are creating that class. We write the keyword class, we give the name, let's say a number. We have created a class called number, and then I pass colon, then I follow the indentation rule, and then I do pass. I mean, nothing is happening here. Fine. So this class got created. A class called number got created by just these two statements. Now I'm creating a object of that particular class. Let's say, just understand that this is employee. Just try to understand that this is an employee, or let's say you can say a number. Now I'm trying to create an object. So object is created like this: x is equal to number. So this object is created for the class number, and then I'm trying to print that particular object. Now let me run it. So if I run it, let's say number object as this. We'll see what exactly this main and all is. For now, you have to see what exactly this object is. Let's move on to next. So this was the basic thing. I mean, we did nothing in the class. We have not used any method. We have not used any attribute. We have just created a class, and we have just created a object for namesake to make you understand. Let us move to second class. This will make a little sense. What we are trying to do here is, an institute is there. So whosoever enrolls for a particular course, whosoever enrolls for some particular course, what happens when an object for him is created, or when you say object for him is created, that is nothing but his entry is being made, or maybe he himself is making his entry. So once he makes his entry, that means the object of that particular is created, that particular person is created, that particular course is created. So I've created an object. First of all, I've created a class called Python. Okay, I've used a keyword called class, then Python, then two small bracket, opening and closing, and then I've defined a method here. In the earlier class, I had not defined any method. Here I'm defining a method. What this method is doing? Now you have to understand that when we created functions, functions used to take few arguments. Here also same thing happens. Now you have created a function. We'll see what exactly this self is. I'll come on this. Just understand that this is an argument that is being passed to that particular method. So I've created a method called hello, define hello. I'm passing an argument called self, and then I'm printing happy learning. I'm printing happy learning. Okay, so now I've created two objects. Not two objects, but just one object. Object is equal to Python. So for this Python class, an object called OB has been created. Now I'm trying to fetch this OB. Through this OB, I'm trying to fetch the method that has been defined in that particular class. So I'm writing OB that hello, that will give you. So an object of a class can fetch the methods, the attributes of a the class. Let's say the employee. Let's say I am an object of employee class. Then obviously once I complete 1 year, there will be an appraisal for me. There will be some defined working hours for me. There will be a certain experience for me in that project, or complete experience, or experience in that company. So like this. So what I'm doing here is, me being an object is trying to fetch the methods and attributes being defined in the employee class. Same is happening here. Python is a class, and the object OB is trying to fetch the method defined inside the Python class just by passing few arguments. Fine. Hope this is clear to you. I'll just repeat it. I've created a class called Python, and then inside that Python class, I've created a method called hello. That hello method is taking one argument that is called self. I'll let you know what exactly self is. We'll discuss that. First, just understand that that is an argument, and then I'm trying to print inside that method, I'm trying to print happy learning. Class is created, a method is created inside class. Now I'm trying to create an object of it. The object name is ob. Okay, now ob object is trying to fetch that particular method defined inside the Python class. And once you try to fetch that method, then what will happen, whatever is printed, or whatever is the content of that particular method will be printed on your console. And that is what happening here. ob is trying to fetch hello class, and inside sorry, not class but method, ob is trying to fetch hello method, and inside this hello method we have defined, or we are trying to print happy learning, and that is what is happening here. Okay, let me execute this so you can see happy learning. So hope this is clear, this is making sense. Now let's see what exactly a self is. So whenever a object is created, okay, whenever is a object is created, so there could be multiple objects that is created for a class. Here I've just created one particular object. Now let me create ob1. ob1 is equal to now both these ob and ob1 will go and fetch this, correct? Both this ob and ob1 will try sometime, maybe in the starting or beginning, anytime, or maybe sometime, these two objects will try to fetch this function or attribute hello. How will this method know that I am being called by which one of the objects, right? So for that, the first argument, you can pass multiple argument, but the first argument is self, that you have to remember. The first argument inside the method of a class is self. What this self is nothing but it is passing the object name to that particular method, so that that method can understand, okay, this particular object is calling me as of now. Okay, so whenever we define a method, we put a keyword self, and whenever you create an object, the object name is passed on to that method, so that the object knows, so that the method knows that I am being called by which of these instances of that particular class. Hope this is clear. So we saw classes, we saw methods here, we saw how to create object. Okay, now let's see an example where we also have attributes. Or you can say, why to create a new one? Let me create an instance attribute here only. A is equal to 20. So this A is the attribute of class Python. Okay. Colon. By the way, no point of this colon here, we can directly execute happy learning. But here why 20 is not visible, because I am not, let's say I will try to fetch this. Okay. I'll have to print this. Sorry. Now you can see 20. So here my objects, the one object ob1 is fetching the attribute that is A being defined in the function class called Python, and my object ob is trying to call the method that is defined inside the Python class. Okay, and by calling that method hello, it is printing happy learning. So this was attribute, methods, classes and objects. Hope this is clear to you. We are going to see many more examples, so the concepts will be clear to you once you complete complete the topics mentioned for today. Fine. So now you can understand this. This will make the things clear. Now you can understand this very well. Just a second, it's opening up. So what is happening here? Class is an instance variable. I've created a class called ABC, okay, and then I've taken attribute called domain. I have initialized that attribute with one value called data science, and then I'm creating a function called, I'm creating a method called set course, okay, define set course, and then here I'm passing one attribute was by one argument was by default self, but here we are also passing a name to it, okay. So I'm passing name as well with the self. Now self dot name is equal to name. This is nothing but setting the name for that particular object for the method set course, okay. This will be clear. Let's complete this. Now this is fine. I've created a class ABC. I have declared a attribute called domain, and I've created a method called excuse me, I've created a method called set course. I'm trying to set the name into that by writing self dot name, okay. Now I'm trying to create two objects. Object 1 is equal to ABC and object 2 is equal to ABC. What object 1 is doing? Now object 1 is trying to fetch this method set course, and when you fetch this method you will have to pass one argument at least, because this self is by default. As soon as you create the object, I mean the object itself is passed as an argument, as the first argument. That's why we write self. Now this name, okay, so name we are passing, we are passing Python, okay. So now Python is set here. For this object the course is set as Python, okay. Next is, for second object I have set the course as ML. Now you can understand the difference, why self is making difference. For the first object, object 1 was being passed in place of self, and for the second object, object 2 is being passed in place of self, okay. Now I'm trying to print object 1 dot domain. So object 1 dot domain obviously will be data science, because there is one single attribute in this class. So both this the object 1 dot domain or object 2 dot domain, both will print data science. So I'm trying to print object 1 dot domain. It will print what? It will print data science. But now I'm trying to update it. So object 1 dot domain is equal to IoT, okay, Internet of Things. Now it got updated. Now when you try to fetch it, now you try to understand here. This object 1 is changing the value of domain to IoT. So that will not be changed for object obj2. Okay, we'll see this complete code snippet in our Jupyter notebook. Just try to understand here. So here object 1 dot domain will give data science, IoT, and object 2 dot domain will give okay, let's see first. The first is set course print object 1 dot domain. Fine, object 1 dot domain is still now data science. We have not yet updated it, so it has printed data science. Now object 1 is trying to update it, so object 1 dot domain with IoT. Now I'm trying to print object 1 dot domain, it will print IoT. But you have to keep in mind that here the domain that is being updated here is being done by the object 1 and not object 2. So for object 2, the value of domain will be data science only. This you have to understand here. And if you try printing obj2 dot domain, it will print data science again. Okay, because the update was made by object 1 and not object 2. Now last print statement, obj1 dot name. So obj1 dot name, it's a object or instance of that class ABC, and this object is trying to fetch the method called fetch the value called name inside that particular method. Okay, that's why I'm trying to get object 1 dot name. So I told you here what will be passed. Here object 1 and Python will be passed. So value of name will be Python. For second course, in place of self, object 2 will come, and in place of name ML will come. That's why if you are trying to get the obj1.name and obj2.name, it is printing Python and ML. So hope this has made at least 50-60% of sense with you, and not much complex, but yes, I can understand if you're not from coding background, few things might sound little confusing, but not to worry. uh, we are going to practice a lot of classes and objects, and we are going to see a lot of things, so this will make your concept pretty clear. So be patient, and let's complete all the topics mentioned for today's agenda. For those who are already from a coding background, I don't think they will be facing any problem in understanding these concepts. Perfect. Now let us move on to the next part. This is called private, public, and protected attributes. And we can see this. I mean, it could be attributes and methods. Both could be private, public, and protected. First, we'll see attributes. Private attributes can only be accessed inside the class definition. So these three keywords, private, public, and protected, these are nothing but access level for different attributes. Access level. Okay. Now let's say you are working, you are working in your company. Let's say a company called ABC, and first when you enter from the main gate, you punch your card there. Okay. So you punch your card there, you go inside that, right? And then again your building gate comes, then again you punch your card, you go inside that. Again your ODC gate comes, then again you punch your card, you go inside that. So this is type of access level is present in attributes and methods. Other public cannot come inside the premises. Same happens here. If you declare an attribute as private, then that only be accessed inside, that can only be accessed inside the class definition. Public, it can be freely used. Anyone can come and use it. A simple restaurant is there, that is public. Anyone can go and eat inside, can have lunch or dinner inside. But in an IT company, only the persons who are entitled to go inside that, only those can go inside. Okay. So for same happens for private. The attributes inside the class, or let's say the employees of that particular company, only can go inside that. The public attribute can be freely used, okay, anywhere. Protected attributes had some limitations as well as some restrictions. It can be accessed from within the class and within its subclasses. So the hierarchy could be based on restrictions. The restriction that is imposed on private is the most, and then little less on protected, and then comes public. Okay. And why has Python given this? So Python performs a name mangling of private variables. Okay guys, so we'll see this topic. I mean, this will not make much sense now what this is. If someone wants to access a private variable, what can he do? Actually, what this sentence means is that I'm telling you. If you want to fetch the private attribute, what will you do? You will have to write object dot underscore class underscore variable. You have to write in this way, and in this way you can go and fetch the private attributes also. So what's written is Python performs name mangling of private variables. Every member with double underscore will be changed to object dot underscore class underscore variable. If so required, it can still be accessed from outside the class. The practice should be refrained. Yes, this is actually why Python has done so. You can go and access, still you can go and access it, but the purpose of making an attribute private, public, and protected is if some other coder comes or someone is looking into the code, he can understand, okay, there is some different significance of this particular object, this particular attribute. That's why it has been made private. So this is for you to understand. This is for the, I mean, this has been defined for you to understand that, okay, something is different, some specifications are different for this particular attribute than the other ones. That's why we have written it. The practice should be refrained. We should not go and directly call this private. Go ahead for public, call that attributes, but this should be refrained in case of private and protected. Protected, protected again can be called, but private can should be refrained every time. Should be refrained every time. That should be the good practice you should follow in project. Okay. So these are private attributes, public attributes, protected attributes. We'll see this. We have seen this. Hope you understand. Now we'll see how this looks like. How this looks like. How you go and define. How can you define a private attribute, a public attribute, and a protected attribute? Let's see here. This code snippet will clear every concept of yours. Example for public, private, and my mistake, I've made this spelling mistake. Okay, I'll correct this. And protected. Class ABC, I've defined a class. This underscore init, again underscore, I'm passing self. This init is called constructor. So forget it now. Just understand this as a method. Nothing else. Just understand this as a method. And I'm passing one argument called self. This is nothing but the instance of object will be passed in the place of self. Now I'm trying to set the value self underscore private. This is my private attribute, and I have defined it as I am private. Self underscore self dot underscore protected. One underscore with protected, two underscore with private. And here also I'm trying to set I am protected, and then I have set self dot pub, no underscore required for public, and here I'm writing I am public. Okay, clear? I have created a class, I have created a method, and I have defined three attributes, one private, one protected, and one public inside this particular method. I've created an object x is equal to ABC, created one object x is equal to ABC, and now using that x, since the object can go and fetch the attributes of that particular class or of that particular method. So same thing I'm doing here. I'm trying to fetch this x dot pub, accessing the public attribute, and you can see I am public got printed here. Okay, I am public got printed here. Print x dot underscore protected. So I am protected also got printed here. But when the counter came to x dot underscore private, it gave you an error. ABC object has no attribute. This is restricted. You cannot simply create an object and write object dot private attribute name and call it. This is not possible. Here the restriction rule applies, and so you cannot. That's why your program gives here. Now if you want to access in some emergency, if you want to access this, then this is the method. What you have to do is you have to write object, that is the object name here was I guess AX. So here you have to write x dot underscore ABC underscore protected private PRI. So here you will have to write x dot, I'm repeating again, x dot underscore class name, that is ABC underscore variable name, that is underscore private. We'll see this in the code. So this is clear to you. So public, private, and protected are nothing but restrictions level imposed on different attributes. These are denoted by, private is denoted by double quotes, double underscore, protected is denoted by single underscore, and public is not conjuncted with any of the underscores or anything. It's simple the name. It's simply the name. Okay, so you understand this now. Again, same thing applies for private, public, and protected method. If you use two underscore, the method becomes private. If you use one underscore, the method becomes protected, and if you do not use any underscore, the method is simply public. Okay. What the definition is? Let's see the definition. When the attribute of an object can only be accessed inside the class, it is called private class. Okay. Python uses two. We have already seen this. Python uses two underscore to hide a method. Python uses two underscore to hide a. Python uses two underscore to hide a method. Okay. Underscore can also be used to hide a variable. We just saw that. Protected method use single underscore, and public does not use any underscore. We already saw that. Now let's see the example. Here the example is, I have created a class called my class and I have defined three methods inside this. First method is public method, second method is underscore protected method, and third method is underscore underscore private method. All the three methods are taking one argument, the default argument called self, and all these methods are doing nothing but just trying to print a statement from within. Okay, so a class, three different functions, the restrictions level are different for all the three functions, and then I'm trying to create object called my object of my class, and then when I try to fetch this methods, the first will be printed just like that happened in variable. This is a public method, this is a protected method, and third one will give you error because this is private and you cannot just go and access the private method or attribute. Fine, so this is same. How can we access this? Private method or variables, variable I already shown you, or only this private method will be substituted with the variable name. Private method can be accessed by using an underscore with class name. So this did not work. My object dot dot underscore underscore private, this did not work. So here I'll have to write my object, that is the object name, dot underscore one underscore class name, no dot, then underscore underscore private method, and then you can see the output. This is private method. Here the same thing gave error, but when we tried fetching in this way, this gave the output. Again guys, this is just to make you understand that this particular attribute or method had some extra restrictions, so better not to touch such private methods or variables. Just in case of maybe you want to understand something, or you maybe want to debug something, then only in that case you should go and use such methods. But in business as usual, we should avoid using these methods of fetching a private attributes or a method. Okay, hope this is clear. So what all we saw? We saw object oriented concepts, that will come. We saw object methods, classes, attributes, private, public, protected, and these things we saw. Okay, and then let's see what is a constructor and destructor. So this underscore underscore init underscore underscore is nothing but a constructor. What a constructor is? A constructor is called when you create an object. A constructor is, I'm repeating it again, a constructor is called when you create an object. So here let's understand, I've created a class called test class. I've defined two functions or two methods inside that. First method is underscore underscore init underscore underscore. I'm passing a argument called self, and then I'm trying to print constructor. Second one is define underscore underscore delete del underscore underscore self, and then I'm trying to print a destructor. And when I'll try to create an object obj is equal to test class, what will happen? This particular method will automatically be called. We don't need to call it like x dot whatever method name that we call, we try calling here. Let's say you try calling the method here x object dot underscore underscore this. No, we don't need anything to call a constructor. Whenever you create an object, a constructor is automatically called, and that's why you can see when I've created an object called obj is equal to test class, this underscore underscore init underscore underscore, that is a constructor, is being called, and the print statement inside this method, the content inside that print statement is getting printed at the console. Okay, so constructors are nothing but when you create an object of a class, then there is a method called underscore underscore init that is called automatically. That's why we call it constructor, because object is getting constructed, so we call it constructor. Now what is a destructor? In the way you created an object, in the same way you can also go and delete the object that is not required. Let's say me as an employee joined a company, and we saw that okay, employee class, appraisals, and we saw so many things. Now if I left that company, what will happen? that company will go and delete the object of this particular person because I'm no longer a part of that company. Same happens here. If object is no longer being used, you can go and delete this. So again, for delete, there is something called destructor that will destruct the object. First one was constructing it, and second one will go and destruct it. How do we destruct it? So you have to use a keyword called delete in the short form del, and then use the object name. Use the object name that you want to delete. So object name is obj, and I want to delete the object called obj. So then this will be called, and this will print destructor here. As soon as it will be called, it will go inside, and there's a print statement called destructor. So for constructor, constructor is getting printed, and for destructor, destructor is getting printed. Constructor is automatically called when you create an object and is denoted by underscore underscore init underscore underscore, and one by default argument is passed to this constructor. Same thing happens for self when you want to same thing happens for a destructor when you try to delete an object, or when you try to drop an object. Then what will happen? It will call again a method called underscore del underscore underscore, and default argument will be passed, and whatever is there inside that method will be printed, and it will go and delete the object. So this destructor will be called, it will go and delete the object, and it will print destructor. So this is constructor and destructor is, guys. Now let's see a few examples. Okay, you saw this. Here, what is this? This int is also a class. I mean, we have understood is in the form of variables and attributes. So a is equal to 10, a is a attribute or variable, and the value is 10. But a is an object of class called int. There is an int class. Obviously, all the integers will fall inside that. If I'm defining a class called human, so every human, whether it's a male or female, all will be a part of that particular class called human. Same is happening here. There is a class called int, and if you are creating a attribute called or variable called a is equal to 10, then a is the object of that particular int class. That is that is being depicted here. Okay, let's move ahead. A is equal to 10. I'm trying to print the type of it, and then I'm trying to print is instance is a function that will check if a particular object, if, or you can say if a particular object is a type of a class or not. Here what I'm trying to check is a is a part of int class or not. So I've defined a variable called a is equal to 10. I'm checking the type. It will also give it will also give int, and this print type a will print the class of it as in instance is a the part of class integer. So it will return true or false. So it is first it printed class int, and then you checked is instance a is equal to int. So if you define b is equal to, let me show you, q, and because that's a part of class called string, and if you write 20 here, it will be true. So is instance will give you if a particular object is a part of that class or not. Moving ahead, so I've created, we'll see some more functions, guys, that will make things more clear, and then we'll also see whatever things we have seen in the theoretical in the slide theoretical portion as slide. We'll see all those hands-on here. So I've created a function called test. I've passed variable passed two arguments, name and standard. Okay, and then I'm trying to print the name is and the standard is. This is actually a function, and then I'm trying to call this function test12. We already saw this. So this 12 will be passed in the name, and std will be passed in function. It will print it. Example for public, private and protected I've already shown you. Let us do this again. I've created a class called ABC, and then I've created a function method underscore underscore init. I've created three different attributes inside it. Now I'm creating a class. I'm trying to access the public attribute, I'm trying to access the protected attribute, I'm trying to access the private attribute. So what will happen if I run it? This portion will give error because this is private and you cannot go and directly access the private variable. So what I've done here is, here I'm trying to fetch object dot class name underscore underscore private name, and I'm defining it as this is new private, and then when I try to print x dot underscore underscore abc underscore private, this will print this is a private. Now let me say let me comment this out. What gave error? Because x underscore underscore private. Now if I comment this out, new private. So this is clear. Again, same goes for public, private and protected attributes. Same thing is happening here. Same thing. In the same way I've tried fetching it also. If I uncomment this and I comment this, what will happen? It will give you a public method, a protected method, and for the third method it throws the error because that is not accessible. And now if put a hash here and I have put this here, this is a private method. So guys, this is clear to you. Example for public and private and protected attributes. Now this is the class variable, instance variable. We already saw that in the starting. I have declared a class called ABC. I've created an attribute called data science, and then I'm trying to set a course here. I'm creating two objects. I'm trying to set two courses, and then I'm trying to print courses for two different objects here. So we have already seen this. What you can do is you can import this notepad file and practice in your machine. It will make more sense. You can also do some R&D if you want to. Now constructors and destructors. This I showed you already. Let us create one object. First let me delete comment this part, and then let's. Now when you created an object called obj of test class, so I have not called anywhere underscore underscore init underscore underscore, right? As soon as I created an object, this got called. As soon as I created this got called. Now if I want to delete it, it would have deleted from inside, and it is printing. Here you can also print obj got deleted. Obj got deleted. So hope this is clear, guys. So you understand constructor and destructor. Okay. Same things, I mean I've repeated it here. Class, test, attribute here, then a method called show data, and then I'm trying to print something here. Then I'm creating an object called t1, and then print t1 dot a. क्या है t1? T1 is nothing but t1 is an object. T1 is an object of class test. Okay, so a class, an object can go and fetch the attributes and method. Same is happening here. First it is fetching the attribute, and then it is fetching the method here. If you want to understand what is happening, you can also go and put this object name into help, and you'll get so many details over here. Okay guys, so if you move downwards, you can see again a college name has been defined. This is nothing but an attribute, and then I'm trying to declare a function, and then I'm here in the beginning I've created a class like this. So this all we have seen. Okay, so this we have already discussed in details. Okay, let's say I've created a class called test, and then I've declared a attribute inside it a is equal to 10, then I've declared a method called show data, then I've declared a method called show data. What is happening is nothing but your current object starts. So once you create this, t3 is equal to test. Once you create this t3 is equal to test, then this will be object will be created, and the attribute will be fetched, and the function will also be fetched. So I've created two classes, class 1 and class 2. I did nothing, I just created one method and one attribute. Same for 2. t1 dot show data a is equal to 10, t2 dot show data a is equal to 200. Concept of dict is nothing but it will return you the object of that particular class is the just created object of that particular class. Let's say here if I try printing underscore underscore dict for test1, the output would be the recently created object called t2. Okay, so this is dict for you. So here you can see so many things over here. Okay, we'll see this one by one. Maybe we'll see at the end when we complete all the courses. Okay, okay, so guys, this completes the first 5 topics of agenda mentioned for today. Okay, so next portion would be the core object oriented concepts: abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, overriding, polymorphism, exception handling, try, catch, block, and few important libraries. So I'll discuss the remaining things in the next video. Okay, and if you want, just drop me an email. I'll send you this object oriented notebook file, Jupyter notebook file. You can go and import this Jupyter notebook file into your machine, and you can practice it. Okay, and once you practice it, this will instill more confidence on you, and the best way to understand is to practice as much as you can. So let me complete this first, and then maybe we can also do some hands-on scenarios based on classes, objects, variables, and methods and all. Okay, so do practice, guys. Thank you so much for listening patiently. So we'll meet again in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.